She rolled her eyes, scoffed, and said, "Stop being a drama queen. She's always been like this." My sister's voice echoed across the table, dripping with condescension. I smiled through the pain. I had no idea that just a few hours later, the surgeon would find something inside me that would make her drop her wine glass in horror. If you've ever been dismissed, belittled, or made to feel powerless by someone you trusted, hit that subscribe button now. Like this video, and comment if you've ever witnessed someone get exactly what they deserved. This story isn't just about revenge. It's about justice that's impossible to ignore. Let's dive in. I had always been the sensitive one in my family, the one who felt everything a little more intensely. Growing up, my sister, Vanessa, was the golden child, charismatic, confident, and utterly convinced that the world owed her obedience. She had this uncanny ability to turn any situation into a performance, where she always came out on top. Family dinners were her stage. Birthdays, holidays, even casual Sunday lunches, nothing escaped her theatrical touch. And I was the quiet one, the one who swallowed my frustrations because speaking up only invited ridicule. That night started like any other. Mom had cooked a huge dinner: roast chicken, mashed potatoes, all the fixings. Dad poured wine for the adults, while my little nieces ran around making a mess. Vanessa was already seated at the head of the table, her presence commanding attention. "Stop being a drama queen," she said mid-bite, leaning over to glare at me. "She's always been like this." Her words landed like a physical slap, and everyone at the table, Mom, Dad, even my cousins, seemed to silently agree. They didn't defend me. They didn't even look at me with concern. I felt my stomach twist, not from hunger but from a sharp, stabbing pain that had been coming and going for weeks. At first, I had chalked it up to stress, bad eating habits, maybe even anxiety. But this time it wasn't fading, it was intensifying. Each laugh Vanessa forced herself to make, each smirk at my supposed drama, was like nails on my ribs. By the time dessert was served, I was pale, sweating, and clutching my side. I don't feel well," I said quietly, trying to keep it casual. Vanessa rolled her eyes, placing her hand on her chest as if my discomfort was the worst inconvenience of her life. "Here we go," she said. "Drama queen alert. Maybe you just need some attention." She laughed, high-pitched and cruel. I wanted to scream, to tell her to shut up, but I didn't. I knew that if I reacted, she'd win again. So I swallowed the pain, nodded politely, and excused myself. By the time I got to the emergency room, I was shaking. My doctor's expression went from professional concern to outright alarm as he examined me. "We need to run tests immediately," he said. "I don't like what I'm seeing." Hours later, I was in the operating room. The anesthesiologist's voice was calm, but my thoughts raced. How had it come to this? How could Vanessa, my own sister, be so cruel, so dismissive of the fact that I was in danger? My anger simmered, even as sedation began to blur my senses. The surgery was delicate. My surgeon, Dr. Lang, a meticulous woman in her 40s with a calm demeanor, explained later what had happened. "When we opened you up, we found something quite unusual," she said. Her tone was clinical, but her eyes sparkled with the thrill of discovery. "Something that honestly your sister would have never expected." I waited, heart pounding, every muscle tensed. "There was a rare hidden complication," she continued. "Something that could have been fatal if not addressed immediately. You were lucky we caught it in time." I nodded slowly, processing her words. Then came the moment that changed everything. Dr. Lang paused, as if weighing whether to tell me the final piece. And she said, with a small smile, "We have a record of who dismissed you before this could be treated. Your sister." I laughed quietly to myself, not out of relief, not out of joy at least not yet, but because the universe had a sense of timing so perfect. It felt almost scripted. Vanessa had spent years pretending she was untouchable, that her judgments and cruel quips were harmless, even justified. She hadn't counted on the universe or on me to reveal her arrogance. A few weeks later, the real revenge began, not mine, not directly. I didn't have to say a word. Vanessa's pride, her need to control the narrative, became her own undoing. It started subtly. Family gatherings shifted. People began noticing how she reacted when I spoke, how defensive she became at the slightest critique. She started losing her audience because her performance relied on me being the dramatic sibling when that label no longer stuck. When I returned with my health intact, calm, composed, even radiant, her entire facade cracked. Then came the dinner. A week after my surgery, Vanessa hosted a small family gathering, perhaps trying to reclaim her throne. Wine in hand, she launched into one of her classic monologues about her recent work achievements, her charm, her cleverness. She glanced at me, smirked, and said, "Oh, don't look so worried. You might faint again, drama queen." I held my glass, smiling softly. "Actually," I said quietly, letting the words hang like a blade, "the last time I fainted, the surgeon found something inside me that could have killed me. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here to witness this conversation." The room went silent. Vanessa froze mid-laugh. Her glass trembled in her hand. I saw her eyes widen, her lips part slightly as if to apologize, but no words came. The realization hit her fully. Her cruelty had been exposed, not in a humiliating public spectacle, but in a truth too stark to ignore. She dropped her wine glass. It shattered across the polished hardwood floor. The sound echoed through the room, sharp, final, like the end of her reign. Every shard reflected a small fragment of her arrogance, and in that moment, I didn't need to say more. The universe had done the work for me. Years of being underestimated, dismissed, and mocked had culminated in one simple, undeniable fact. I survived. I thrived. And Vanessa, for once, was powerless. I felt a rush of calm, a quiet vindication. Not because I wanted to humiliate her, though part of me enjoyed seeing her fragile ego crumble, but because justice finally had a voice. My pain was validated, my struggle recognized, and my survival undeniable. Vanessa didn't speak for the rest of the evening. She avoided eye contact, her laughter gone, replaced by a tense, brittle silence. Every joke she made afterward was hollow. Every glance from family members was a silent judgment. It was the perfect poetic justice, the kind that doesn't require cruelty, only the patience to let reality expose the truth. Sometimes, the most satisfying revenge isn't in confrontation or anger, it's in survival. In proving your worth quietly while those who doubt you watch their assumptions collapse. The lesson? Never let anyone else's perception define your reality. Have you ever experienced someone underestimating you or even laughing at your misfortune, only to see them face the consequences of their arrogance? Share your story in the comments. Like this video if you've ever tasted the sweet thrill of justice. And subscribe for more stories where karma isn't just a myth, it's undeniable. Don't miss the next story, where revenge is exquisitely crafted.